If you've ever worn 3-layered polos, a denim mini over jeans, or anything with glitter stitching, don't worry, we're all guilty here. Welcome to Cringe Capsule. Because someone had to put our digital disasters in a vault. Remember the early 2000s? When your Motorola Razr was the height of tech, your MySpace top 8 determined social status, and you thought wearing a belt over your shirt or for no reason was high fashion? Yeah. We need to talk. This was the golden era of style mistakes. An unholy cocktail of bedazzled logos, visible thong straps, and denim abuse. Fashion in the Y2K era wasn't just chaotic, it was a public safety hazard. And somehow we all participated. So today we're throwing open the dusty doors of our middle school closets and asking the question no one dared to confront in 2006, what the hell were we wearing? From layering tank tops like you were preparing for Arctic conditions to proudly strutting around with Juicy on your butt, this is a tour through the most unhinged, iconic, and cringy fashion disasters of the early 2000s. Welcome to Y2K Fashion Crimes. What were we thinking? Because nothing says healing like dragging your past self. Layered everything, dresses over jeans and 10-layer tops. Exhibit A, layering. Not like, oh, it's chilly out, better grab a cardigan layering. Number, I'm talking deranged onion core outfits stacked like we were all headed to a very unhinged middle school fashion apocalypse. Picture this, it's 2004, you've just left Limited 2 with a bag full of rhinestone chokers and optimism. Tomorrow you will wear a spaghetti strap baby doll dress over jeans with a pastel shrug over a tank top that's layered over another tank top, all different colors, like a bag of Skittles threw up on you, and you looked in the mirror and thought, yes, this is high fashion. This is what Hillary Duff would want for me. Let's not forget the 2 polo shirt phenomenon. 2 polo shirts, both with popped collars, because obviously a single collar couldn't contain the early 2000s energy coursing through your veins. And sometimes you'd throw a lace cami on top of a regular t-shirt, like some sort of romantic coding feral youth. We looked like we were in witness protection from good taste. Why did we do this? Well, the mid-2000s were all about individual expression, and nothing screamed, I have no parental guidance, like wearing 4 visible shoulder straps at once. Mix and match was the vibe, and chaos was the aesthetic. Celebs like Ashley Tisdale were out here on red carpets, dressed like they were going to both a children's birthday party and an Abercrombie clearance sale. So naturally, we copied it, layering long tanks under graphic tees, then throwing on a shrug and finishing it off with a statement belt that had absolutely no function. Fashion was performance art, and we were committed. And let's be clear, it wasn't cozy. Jeans under a dress? That's not layering for warmth, that's layering for drama. You had to keep yanking your dress down and pulling your jeans up like you were in a never-ending tug of war with your own decisions. But at the time, we felt unstoppable. Every hallway was a runway. Every outfit was a cry for help disguised as fashion forward. Now we look back and we laugh, or we scream into our pillows. Because somewhere out there, there's a yearbook photo of you wearing a lime green halter over bootcut jeans, accessorized with a long beaded necklace and a belt you bought at Claire's that said Diva in pink rhinestones. And that, my friend, is your villain origin story. It was bulky, it was weird, it made 0 sense, and yet it was ours. Von Dutch trucker hats, the crown of 2004 cringe. Let's set the scene. It's 2004. The economy is booming, The Simple Life is on TV, and Paris Hilton is the blueprint. You're flipping through a J14 magazine and you see it. That foam front, mesh back, logo emblazoned icon of misguided coolness. The Von Dutch trucker hat. And suddenly, you need it. Like emotionally, spiritually, cosmically. It is not a want, it is a rite of passage. Now let's be clear, this hat didn't go with anything. But that didn't matter. We threw it on with our juicy couture tracksuits, bedazzled jeans, spaghetti strap tops, and the confidence of someone about to get discovered at a mall kiosk. Celebs wore them like they had a Von Dutch sponsorship written into their contracts. Paris Hilton had them in every color of the Lisa Frank rainbow. Nicole Richie wore them with cowboy boots. Ashton Kutcher made them look like a personality trait. And Lindsay Lohan, if she wasn't wearing a Von Dutch hat in 2005, it was because she had temporarily misplaced it. The irony? These hats originated from hot rod culture. The brand was named after a pinstriper and mechanic. But then the glitterati of LA were like, Yeah, this totally fits with my rhinestone G-string and flip phone. We collectively rebranded something that screamed off-duty mechanic into off-duty heiress. They were foam, people. Foam. It was like putting a flattened couch cushion on your forehead and calling it couture. And the fit? Criminal. If you had a small head, it swallowed you whole. If your head was bigger, it just sat there perched like a confused bird. And yet we all wore them proudly. Because back then, fashion wasn't about flattery. It was about aspiration. It was about being in on the joke that maybe wasn't actually a joke. But like most fashion flames that burn too brightly, Von Dutch hats crashed hard. As quickly as they rose, they became a meme of themselves. Even Paris Hilton recently admitted she wouldn't bring them back. When the queen of early 2000s Kitsch herself draws the line, you know it's serious. Today, spotting one in the wild is like seeing a rare bird. You pause, you salute, you whisper, 2004 was wild under your breath. And you move on, because that hat is now both a cultural relic and a punchline. But let's be honest, if someone wore one now with the right outfit and the right ironic detachment, we'd all kind of respect it. Like, hate it, but respect it. That's the power of nostalgia, and also trauma. Whale tails and exposed thongs, the adjusting my lowriders every 2 minutes. Look, there are fashion missteps. And then there's intentionally flashing your thong like it's a Gucci belt. Welcome to the era of the whale tail, where your underwear was the main character and your pants were barely clinging to a supporting role. Picture this, you're wearing ultra low-rise jeans, so low they could qualify as denim suggestions. You go to sit down and suddenly, your bedazzled G-string is on full display. And instead of shame, pride. Let's give credit where it's due. This trend wasn't an accident. No ma'am, this was a look. There were thongs specifically designed to show rhinestones, glitter, logos, like a peacock's tail feathers but for your butt crack. It started on the red carpet with icons like Britney Spears, Tara Reid, and Halle Berry, who literally walked an award show in a dress with an exposed crystal thong. That's not fashion, that's architecture. And naturally, if Britney did it, we all did it, or at least tried. Every high school hallway turned into a delicate game of, can I pull these jeans up before someone's mom writes a letter to the principal? Let's talk logistics, shall we? Low-rise jeans were already impractical. Add in the thong choreography, and we were doing core workouts just to stay decent. You'd spend all day fidgeting, tugging, adjusting, like your body was a very badly programmed robot. And don't even get me started on school dress codes. They were not ready. Suddenly, rules about visible straps weren't just for spaghetti tops. They had to specify no exposed undergarments. We had entire assemblies over thongs. Assemblies. Grown adults making eye contact with 14-year-olds while saying butt floss with a straight face. But back then, this was rebellion, this was edge, this was empowerment-ish. You weren't cool unless you were risking a wedgie and public humiliation at the same time. That was the bar. And now we flinch, hard. The whale tail has become fashion shorthand for a dark time. Even Gen Z, who brought back everything else, paused on this one like, maybe not. But let's be honest, we remember. We wore the low-rises. We bought the sequined thongs from Wet Seal. We thought we were so grown, and now we see the photos and want to send apologies to everyone who ever walked behind us on stairs. The good news, trends eventually swing. We went from below hip bone panic to high-waisted comfort queens. The whale tail walked so that mom jeans could strut. So pour one out for your past self, clutching the waistband of your jeans and your dignity. Because the whale tail wasn't just a fashion crime, it was a whole era. Juicy couture tracksuits, the era of being soft, sparkly, and slightly inappropriate. Close your eyes. Now picture yourself in a bubblegum pink velour tracksuit, sipping a frappuccino, blasting Destiny's Child on your chunky iPod mini, and pretending you're late for a meeting at the Limited 2 boardroom. That, my friends, is the juicy couture era. An aesthetic built entirely on soft fabric, questionable slogans, and the belief that wearing the word juicy on your butt was somehow empowering. These weren't just clothes. These were status symbols. If you showed up to 8th grade in head-to-toe juicy, hoodie, and drawstring pants, you weren't just stylish, you were untouchable. probably had a Motorola Razr and the good lip smacker. The irony? These outfits were meant to be loungewear, like for your house, pajama adjacent, but somehow they became the official red carpet look for getting Starbucks. You'd see Paris Hilton, Nicole Richie, Britney Spears, all looking like they rolled out of bed and landed in Vogue. And naturally, what happened next? The floodgates opened. Knockoffs poured into every mall, from Hot Topic to Walmart. Soon, every girl from Beverly Hills to Des Moines was velouring it up like they were about to launch a perfume line. Let's talk styling. Juicy tracksuits weren't subtle. No. They were bright. Hot pink, turquoise, lime green. And always paired with something chaotic. Ugg boots in July, bedazzled flip-flops, or my personal favorite, wedge sneakers, because nothing says luxury like a plush tracksuit with orthopedic heels. And of course, the pièce de résistance, words on the butt. Juicy, princess, sexy. Nothing says respectable young lady like announcing your vibe via rhinestones on your rear. School dress codes were a minefield. What do you even do when a 13-year-old shows up with hot stuff across her behind? Like, does the vice principal send her home? Or just accept the Y2K chaos and hope for the best? But here's the thing, we love them. We didn't just wear juicy, we felt transformed, confident, cool, like the world was our food court. There was something magical about stepping into that fuzzy little tracksuit and instantly becoming a pop star in your own mind. Fast forward to today and they're kind of back. Celebs wear them again, ironically. Gen Z wears them sincerely. And some millennials still have them tucked away in drawers, soft as ever, like a cozy little secret. But make no mistake, as cute as they were also cringe. The kind of cringe that makes you laugh and wince at the same time. Because nothing screams I peaked in middle school like a lavender hoodie with glitter font on the chest and back pockets that say spoiled. Still, there's a weird fondness for it all, maybe because it was one of the first times we dressed for us. Comfort, confidence, and chaos. The holy trinity of Y2K style. So go ahead, dig yours out of the closet, wear it around the house, or don't. But either way, respect the velour. It walked so modern athleisure could run, and bounce, and strut. Ed Hardy and bedazzled everything when fashion punched you in the face. If Juicy Couture was your soft, sparkly alter ego, then Ed Hardy was your tatted, energy drink-fueled gremlin self who fist-pumped in the mirror and believed love kills slowly was a personality. Ed Hardy, the brand, the myth, the walking migraine of the late 2000s, a time when fashion didn't whisper, it screamed with glitter, rhinestones, and a tiger jumping out of a skull that's smoking a rose or whatever. Let's get this out of the way. Don Ed Hardy was an actual tattoo artist, a legend. His designs were bold, artistic, full of that classic ink style. Enter Christian Audigier, a fashion designer who saw those tattoos and said, you know what this needs? A silk-screened hoodie, rhinestones, and $300 price tag. And we, the people, said, yes, please bedazzle the dragon. I want to look like I fell through a tattoo parlor into a Claire's accessories. It was the official uniform of the club bro, the spray-tan sorority girl, the guy who bought bottle service at age 19 with his fake ID and thought Jersey Shore was a documentary. You'd walk into a party and every dude was wearing the same thing. Spiky hair, too much cologne, and a shirt that looked like it lost a fight with a Lisa Frank trapper keeper. And let's not forget the slogans. These shirts were loud in every sense, but they also came with text, like emotional fortune cookies on steroids. Death before dishonor. Love is a gamble. Whatever, I'm a rock star. And you know what? Back then, we ate it up. Why? Because celebrities did. Madonna wore Ed Hardy. So did Britney, David Beckham, and John Gosselin, which, in hindsight, should have been our first red flag. But soon things went south, fast. You know a trend is on life support when the clearance rack at TJ Maxx is overflowing with bedazzled skulls on mesh trucker hats. The crash was so hard, even the stars started roasting themselves. John Gosselin literally got memed into fashion oblivion. The brand became synonymous with try hard and every club promoter named Chad. And yet, nostalgia is weird, because somewhere in the back of your brain, there's a dopamine hit when you see a glittery Ed Hardy tee at a thrift store. It's like finding a fossil from the last known douchebag meteor impact. Do people still wear it? Kind of. In ironic runway fashion, yes. TikTok teens are always flirting with bringing chaos back, and I'm 80% sure one of them wore an Affliction hoodie last week and called it vintage core. But for us, the millennials who lived through it, it's a fashion ghost, a rhinestone-dusted fever dream, a reminder that once upon a time, we thought putting foil lettering on everything was edgy, not blinding. So to the Ed Hardy era, we salute you. You were terrible. You were loud. You were so bad. You were iconic. And to anyone thinking of bringing it back full force, please, at least turn down the saturation. My retinas are still healing. Low-rise jeans and ultra miniskirts, the battle of how low and short can you go? Ah yes, early 2000s fashion brought to you by spine damage, frostbite, and a complete disregard for basic geometry. Let's start with low-rise jeans. Not just low, I'm talking below the hip bone, pelvic grazing, blink and you'll see crack low. They didn't sit on your waist, they taunted your waist from a distance like, I could support you, but I won't. These jeans were so low, one cough away from a wardrobe malfunction, there was zero room for error. One wrong squat and boom, butt cleavage. And yet, we were obsessed. The holy grail was those Frankie B jeans or True Religion flares with 7 inches of zipper, like a full half zipper if you were lucky. Why were they a thing? Honestly, blame Britney, or Xtina, or Destiny's Child doing choreography in jeans that defied human anatomy. Every pop star of the era made it look cool, even though it was a full-body ab workout to sit down in them. And now for their flirty little sidekick, the ultra mini skirt. These weren't skirts, these were napkins with a zipper. The type of skirt that, if you dropped a pen, you'd have to make a life choice. Pick it up or preserve your dignity. Abercrombie, Wet Seal, Delia's, they all had those tiny pleated numbers. Bonus if it was denim, because what screams fashion more than a stiff rectangle of frayed cotton barely covering your thunder? We paired them with, wait for it, UGG boots, because nothing says hot like showing your entire thigh while your feet look like they're trekking through the Yukon. Let's be real. Nothing about this was comfortable. You couldn't bend, couldn't sit, couldn't breathe. Low-rise jeans created the era of sucking in at all times. You'd eat one cracker and instantly feel like you were bursting out of your $89 Hollister denim sausage casing. Fashion logic? None. But emotionally, oh, we felt alive. That tiny skirt and those villainous jeans meant freedom, rebellion, edge, also scoliosis and permanent shivering. But that's neither here nor there. And then there was the phenomenon of layering miniskirts over jeans, a hybrid so cursed it deserves its own congressional hearing. Who looked at a miniskirt and said, you know what would elevate this? A pair of bootcut Wranglers underneath? Cringe aside, there's something iconic here. These pieces were battle uniforms in our coming-of-age years. We danced at school functions in them. We strutted through malls like they were runways. We got reprimanded by guidance counselors because they violated every dress code ever written. And now, in a cruel twist of fate, they're trying to come back. Runways are teasing low-rise again. Fashion TikTok keeps whispering, maybe minis are back. And we, the millennials, just quietly pull our high-rise leggings up to our underboobs and say, no, absolutely not. We've been through enough. So here's to you. Low-rise jeans and mini skirts. You were unhinged, unflattering, and utterly unforgettable. You taught us resilience and how to strategically pull a hoodie over our butts while walking upstairs. May you live forever. In throwback photos we only show when wine is involved. Huge belts and belly chains because apparently our midsections needed their own wardrobes. You know what's better than wearing clothes? Wearing clothes over your clothes. Welcome to the era of belts that did absolutely nothing and jewelry made specifically for your belly button's emotional support. Let's start with the main offender, the giant wide belt. These were not your typical hold up your pants because you're a functioning adult belts. Oh no. These were costume belts, elastic, patent leather, rhinestone encrusted, sometimes with a metal plate that looked like a WWE championship title, and they were worn smack dab in the middle of your torso, for no discernible reason. You'd slap one over a flowy tunic, a baby doll dress, a long tee. Why? To cinch the waist, they said, to add interest. But did it? Really? Or did it just make us look like our outfits were being squeezed in half like a tube of toothpaste? These belts were tight. Not just visually, like circulation restricting tight. You'd sit down and it would ride up your ribs. You'd try to eat lunch and suddenly you couldn't breathe through your diaphragm. Fashion. And if the giant elastic wasn't enough, let's toss in some grommets, studs, and buckles the size of a salad plate. The more the belt clashed with the outfit, the better. Bonus points if it made a loud snapping noise when you adjusted it in the school bathroom between classes. But wait, what if you weren't in the mood to strangle your midsection? No problem. That's where belly chains slither in. These were dainty little waist necklaces that hugged your hips like a glitzy hug of poor decision-making. Popularized by Shakira, Britney, and vaguely problematic Eastern-inspired pop videos, belly chains were the accessory for showing off your obliques at the beach, the mall, or anywhere subtlety went to die. They peeked out from under crop tops, sparkled over low-rise jeans, and, let's be honest, tangled in your shirt every time you sat down. They weren't exactly comfortable, and they weren't holding anything up. They were the anklet of your abdomen. And remember the unholy crossover episode? The one where you wore a belly chain and a giant belt over the same outfit? That, my friend, was high fashion in 2004, according to Wet Seal, at least. Why did we do this? Because magazines told us layering accessories was cool. Because every teen store had a plastic mannequin with 17 things wrapped around its waist. Because we thought adding a metallic circle on top of a long tee somehow transformed us into a pop star. Spoiler, it didn't. Cringe level? Astronomical. Like, did I really wear a belt over a hoodie to the movies? Kinda cringe. These pieces made no sense functionally, and the fashion logic was at best a chaotic fever dream. But damn it if we didn't feel snatched while doing it. The wide belt screamed 2007 MySpace photo shoot. The belly chains whispered TRL spring break. And together, they were the duo nobody asked for, but everyone wore. Today, you can still find both at thrift stores, costume shops, and the back of your high school bestie's closet. And sure, a few brave souls on Instagram have tried to revive the look. But for most of us, these accessories live forever in our cringe memories, wrapped tightly around our fashion mistakes like a hug from our past selves saying, "You looked insane, but you felt unstoppable." Frosted tips and chunky highlights, the salon mistakes we all made together. Okay, pause everything. We need to talk about what we did to our hair. Not what was done to us. No. What we willingly paid money for, what we sat in salon chairs and requested, with our whole chest. I'm talking about two horrifyingly specific crimes. Frosted tips and chunky highlights. Gentlemen, do you remember your cool era? You wanted to look like Justin Timberlake or Nick Lachey or any boy who had ever been on a TRL countdown. And what did they all have in common? Tiny, bleached, crunchy icicles on the ends of their spiked hair. This wasn't a dye job. This was a statement. The kind that said, "I styled my hair with Elmer's glue and a kitchen strainer." Usually, this was accompanied by a puka shell necklace, an Abercrombie polo, and the confidence of someone who just beat Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 on Expert. It was a personality trait, and let's be honest, it wasn't even blonde. Most of the time, the tips ended up brassy orange, because none of us understood toner. You'd go from boy band to corn chip explosion real fast. And when you paired that with gelled up porcupine spikes, congratulations, you looked like a literal hedgehog dipped in peroxide. Ladies, don't get comfortable, you're next. The early 2000s said, screw subtlety. Instead of sun-kissed streaks or balayage, we went all in on chunky highlights. And I mean chunky. These weren't highlights, they were stripes. Think Kelly Clarkson, early American Idol, Lindsay Lohan in Freaky Friday, and Christina Aguilera during her dirty phase, when she looked like she dipped her ponytail in vanilla pudding. Some of us had two thick blonde streaks in the front like we were racing stripes for a face. Others opted for full-on zebra head, with stark lines of bleach running through otherwise dark hair, like we were cosplaying a traffic cone. Why did we do this? Because it looked cool in 17 magazine, because you could see it from space, and because subtle highlights didn't scream, "I have style and angst and a razor flip phone." Getting them done required sitting under those heat lamps, wrapped in foils like a human baked potato, with the scent of hydrogen peroxide and anxiety wafting through the air. These styles aged like a milk carton in the sun. Go look at any high school yearbook from 2001 to 2005. It's like a live-action exhibit of over-processed follicle regret. Frosted tips, they turned into brassy straw poking out of gelled helmets. Chunky highlights, they grew out into two-tone disasters, making you look like you got into a fight with a bleach bottle and lost. Despite all of the evidence, we loved it. At the time, it was everything. There's something almost sweet about how bad our style was. Like, no one looked good, but we all thought we were serving fierce. And it was universal. This wasn't just a fashion trend, it was a rite of passage. Your mom probably has a photo of you with that hair, wearing layered polos with a Von Dutch hat, sporting low-rise jeans, with a belt that has no business being that size in a frame somewhere, and she refuses to take it down because it shows your personality. Today, Gen Z is flirting with low-rise jeans, Y2K hair streaks, and yes, even whale tails are allegedly making a comeback, but mostly on TikTok, where who pair it with painted nails and ironic trucker hats. The rest of us? We'll stick to remembering that time we went to Supercuts and asked for the full Lance base. Thank you very much. The glitter was toxic, the Von Dutch was merciless, and we do it all again. This has been Cringe Capsule, the zillennial vault of our cringe, cursed, and chaotic pre-COVID world. Subscribe for more crimes against fabric and dignity.